You're listening to LOA Recon with the Good Vibe Coach Jeanette Ma, where we dissect the ins and outs and the art and science of conscious creation, all intended to amp up your manifesting game. Let's have some fun together. Thanks for tuning in for another episode. I'm smiling because I was thinking about how to introduce Harvey because he is once again here recording with me. And I was thinking about how he's the best. I said best boy on the planet, but I thought, oh, Jeanette, you mean best dog on the planet. Then I realized, oh, but I don't. He's not just the best dog. He's the best at everything. I love this dog so much. He is so easy to appreciate. Not like my other dog, Scooby-Dooby-Doobers, who might have the best name ever. But, that guy, he's not here with me now. He's outside chewing on a bone because I've got to have him engaged. Otherwise, he'll get bored and either bark or dig or something unhelpful. And I was thinking about how, look, I love that dog dearly as well, but he is teaching me something that we've learned in conscious creation world from a variety of teachers when they talk about how to practice unconditional love. Well, love is unconditional. If it's conditional, it's not love, but unconditional living. Where you know how to be happy just because, not because everything's lined up perfectly and everything's going your way, but because you know how to be happy. So, Harvey just inspires so many good feelings in me automatically because he's the best boy ever. But Samson, who is not the best boy ever, he's scheduled for a month-long stint at boarding school pretty soon because the guy said he'd come back with a reliable recall, which just sounds amazing to me. Yes, I will pay thousands of dollars for that. All right. My point being that Scooby-Dooby-Doobers he's not as compliant. He doesn't care what I want. He wants what he wants. And to learn how to not be dependent on external circumstances for how I feel, or for someone else's behavior for how I feel, that dog's giving me some practice. Harvey does not give me that practice. Harvey he not only does everything I want, he does things I didn't even know I wanted. This guy is so ridiculously cool. He's the best dog ever. It happened again yesterday. Yeah. I just love this guy. Okay. But, that's kind of in theme, the theme that I wanted to share on this episode where... Okay, so the other day, I got on the scale. I was feeling pretty good, feeling pretty sassy. And I was like, let's just see. Looking for some, agreement that, yeah, you are rocking it. And I know the ridiculousness of numbers. And yet, I was having a really good time with them lately. And so I jumped on again just to see how fabulous things were. You know what? It wasn't fabulous. It wasn't fabulous at all, actually. I was like, wow, when was the last time I stood on this thing? Because I didn't like it. I was like, and I didn't like it. I didn't like it. And my first thought was, well, you better fix that. My first thought wasn't, how to love that. It was, what can you do about that? What happened? What'd you do wrong? There I was, letting a number ruin my feel good because I was feeling pretty freaking good. Okay, but then the next thought, as that wave of like self-criticism and judgment was flowing through, the next thought that popped in my head was, if you can't like it here, you can't like it anywhere. The reason that thought went through my head, I bet, is because I had just heard Abraham tell someone, they had a workshop participant get in the hot seat, and she started off by saying, she was pretty happy with herself she just decided to leave her husband because it was so hard to be in the vortex around him. So she was out of there. And she did not get the congratulations that she might have been expecting Abraham to share. What they said was something along the lines of, well, if you can't like it there, you can't like it anywhere. They were saying you're relying on your external circumstances for how you feel. You're blaming your husband as the reason that you can't feel good. When you're really good at this stuff, you don't need your dog to have a reliable recall in order to be pleased with him. You don't need the scale to say a certain number in order to feel fabulous about your body. So it was yet another opportunity for me to practice. That's another thing Abraham teaches, that every moment contains everything. It's all a matter of what you choose to pull out of it. So here I am standing on a scale. I could have done some, thought pivoting, like, maybe the scale is off, or maybe something just kind of weird. But I didn't want to just trick myself that, this number isn't real. I wanted to know how to love myself no matter what any stupid numbers were. No matter what the bank account says, or the scale says, or the birthday says, or, whatever numbers might be tripping us up. I just want to be connected to my feel good no matter what those numbers are. I know that's where true empowerment is. It isn't, get all the numbers lined up the way you like them. And I don't just mean numbers, but, all the stuff in life that we look to outside of ourselves for feeling better. How to be independent of that. So many people want freedom in their lives. I said that kind of in a shrill voice, didn't I? Look, I'm one of them. Freedom and independence. Independence makes my core values list. We're not truly free. We're not really living independently as long as we are dependent on external circumstances or specific situations for how we feel. So the dog and the scale, and I got other chances to practice it as well. When one of my vendors is not delivering in the way that I was expecting or hoping, anticipating, and I wasn't really liking that either. And there's another chance to practice it, because my first thought was, well, she's fired. That was my first thought was, can I fire her? Can I? Do I need her? Do I have to put up with this? You've probably heard me. Those who've been listening for a while know I've been working on my support vibration before. Apparently I'm not done, because I know that I can't experience anything I'm not the vibration of. So I can't just think I can go hire someone new and have a different experience without first doing some work on my vibration, especially if the inspiration to go hire someone new came from the contrast of not liking what I was getting from someone else. So I know I got to clean this up at home first, and then I can trust whatever inspirations come after that. So this morning, actually, I was kind of feeling a little like, how am I going to solve some of the things that I needed my other person to do? How am I going to solve these? And I thought, you know what, before you jump into action, get lined up first. What do you want? What I wanted was to be I wanted to be well supported. I wanted to feel like I have a fabulous list of resources available to me. I don't want to feel like good people are hard to find. I don't want to feel like it's tricky to get good help. What I wanted was to be well supported and well resourced. So, look, my favorite method for alignment when it counts is put it in writing. So I pulled out my notebook and I started a list of I am statements, because I know there's something magical for me about, I know the repetition of it might sound kind of corny, but it works for me. So, and I hadn't done it in a while. So I started a page. I've actually got it right in front of me. And the short and sweet version of it was, I am well resourced. That's what I wanted. And it occurred to me how important it is for me to be lined up with that, for me to be personally lined up with that, because that's one of the things I also want in my romantic partners. I want them to be well resourced too. I don't want anyone to show up needy. I don't want them to show up in lack. I want them to have an abundance of things that, make life work well. So I recognize this work is going to be helpful more than just for my business. And I started out writing, I am well-resourced. And I probably got, and I was writing that, I was in a place of contrast when I started, because I was feeling the not so good stuff, the stuff that makes you sigh, like I just did. That recognition of, this is what I don't want, how to turn this around. So I wasn't feeling on cloud nine when I started this list, but I wrote down, I am well-resourced. I am well-resourced. I am well-resourced. I got that down 6 times before it started to click a little. I started to feel it. And when I wrote down the next statement, I was just inspired to write down, I am very well-resourced. Like, I could just feel it. Writing it down was taking me there. I am very well-resourced. And then I wrote down, I am exceptionally well-resourced. And then I'm ridiculously well-resourced. Can you feel me smiling? That's what was happening as I was writing it down. And then it just evolved from there. I love being so well-resourced. It is good being this well-resourced. And then I wrote down some other stuff about being well-supported and how amazing my team of helpers were and how good I was at letting it in. And and I did some affirmations. Noah St. John's version where you throw the question down. Oh, hey, there was something else I wanted to share with you about a question. I thought it was a different episode, but maybe I'll just throw it in here if I remember to circle back to my list. Am I going to remember my point in sharing this? Someone asked me the question the other day. She heard me on the phone and she was like, it was a group call, and she's like, she thought I sounded off. So she wrote me and she said, you sounded a little bit off. Is everything okay? And I had felt okay. I thought everything was okay, but I got that emailed question and I was like, really? I sounded off? That was the question. I sounded off? And I started wondering, am I off? Might I be off? Like, is there something wrong? I started asking myself that question. Don't ask that question. Especially when you're already feeling fabulous. Don't ask that question. That question isn't helpful because the brain wants to answer whatever questions you give it. So here I am wondering, wow, am I off? Does she know something I don't know? And I started thinking about things that might be causing me to feel off. Hello, Jeanette. You know better than that. So I thought, wow, wouldn't it be nice if someone had written me saying, wow, you sounded amazing. What are you doing? You just sound fabulous. And I was like, oh, I'm going to answer that question. So I did. I wrote back with that. I said, I like this question better. Why do you sound so good? And I had oh man, I wonder if I have it up here. Probably not. I shut down my email when I'm recording on my laptop because every once in a while, Gmail just makes a sound and I don't think you should have to hear that. But I was like, I answered the question why I'm feeling so fabulous. Look, the questions we ask ourselves are so important. That's what made me think about Noah St. John's affirmations. Because one of the things I wrote down was, how did I get such a great team of support? Such a better question to ask yourself than, why can't I get this right? So I don't remember what my point was. It's the risk of letting yourself get sidetracked. But I did have a good time writing it down. By the time I got to the end of the page, and that was like maybe, 25 things that I wrote down. And they weren't all in the form of I am statements, but they were totally inspired. And I wrapped it up with thanks for all the wonderful help and support that's showing up in my life. Okay, that vibration, that's what I'm looking for. That's what I'm looking for. And maybe there's a way that I can also love it even when I'm not having the experience of fabulous support, even when it does feel like this is not what I wanted. I could, in fact, there was another thing I was going to tell you about. So I mentioned this on a podcast a while ago, but I wasn't ready to talk about it. Guess what I did? I asked someone the question, what are you doing right? Because you sound amazing. What has changed? I mean, I've known him for years and he just sounded amazing. And he said, the only thing really that I've been doing differently is this little meditation that his healer had introduced him to. It's online free at soulattunement.org. There's a little instruction page and then there's a listen page. I'm going to repeat that for some of you. Again, some of you are going to want to check it out after you hear the story. So anyway, I asked him, what are you doing so right? Because you sound amazing. And he shared soulattunement.org. And I checked it out. And I, just based on his experiences, I was curious. So I listened. It was not at all what I expected. Not at all what I expected. I'm smiling at how that was my response to it. I was just laughing. I was like, okay, that is not what I thought that was going to be. It's just a short meditation. And I listened to it. You're supposed to listen to it once a day, every day for 2 weeks straight, and then take 2 weeks off. And then there's a second one after that, and a third one after that, a fourth one, and a fifth one. You're supposed to do them in order. It's 2 weeks on for the one, and then 2 weeks off. Then you go to the next one. Okay, so I start with the first one. And I'm about 3 days in on this thing. I've listened to it for 3 days when I notice that, I might have already told you this, when I notice that every time I start to have a little grumbling complaint, I just burst out laughing. Like I just start giggling. I can't even take it seriously. Like I start out like, this is a legit problem. Grumble, grumble, mad, mad, or worried, worried. But before I even get to the end of the sentence, it just seems so ridiculous. I can't even take those worries or those problems seriously. And I think I got 5 days in on it, and I was like, and my dreams got crazy. So crazy. They got crazy. Like they took on a whole different quality. It's almost like my old dreams were in black and white, and now I was dreaming in color, except that wasn't the difference. They just felt closer or realer. I don't know what was going on. I don't know what's going on in those dreams. Others have reported similar experiences to me. In fact, the instruction page, I think, says something about things might feel a little messed up before they get better. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. But I sure liked that, not being able to take problems seriously. It just felt like, it just felt really good. And I thought, this is how it should always be. So anyway, I got like 5 days in on that before I got interrupted with trapping feral cats. So I wasn't listening to the meditation after that. I just started it again. So I haven't even made it through the first round. But, oh, great. Why did I start talking about this? Oh, I'm such a mess. This is why people read scripts. This is why when you're listening to someone's podcast and you can tell they're reading, this is why. So this doesn't happen. I can't remember what I was sharing that for. Oh, I do, though. Yeah, it's that unconditional living, that ability to enjoy, that ability to appreciate just because you decide to, just because you can, just because you choose it. It's always, that choice is always available to us. It isn't just when everything's going right. We don't use our creation powers to manifest perfect circumstances so then we can feel good. We get really good at feeling good. It's one of my favorite affirmations. I am good at feeling good. Maybe that's why that meditation came to me. Maybe. All right. So I started this off by saying, Harvey's not just the best dog on the planet. He's the best everything on the planet. And that's how I'm going to close. I wish for everyone to have something as amazing in their life as the dog that's easy to love, as well as the one that isn't. The one that, or the situation, the person, the experience that maybe inspires us to practice what we're capable of, which is feeling good no matter what. Because we really can. When Abraham says every moment contains everything, it's all a matter of what you choose to pull out of it. I believe that. Maybe that meditation will make it easier to do it. Maybe not. Follow your inspiration. I'm not saying go listen to it, but if you do, it's at soulattunement.org. I want to hear if you have any experiences with that. I would love to hear back. All right. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Happy manifesting.